Hello viewer, my name is Lucas Dykes, and if you're watching this video, this means that you are either part of the Museum of Everyday Writing, or you're just some random YouTuber who stumbled onto the wrong side of the internet. Either way, this is a tutorial video for the interns of the Museum of Everyday Writing. In this first video, we will go over everything you need to know about curating artifacts in the museum. And the rest of the videos on this playlist are on the different item types that these artifacts fit into. So let's start at the dashboard that you reach right after you log in. On the side, you can see several links to different parts of the museum. All of these links are important in their own fashion, but as an intern, you will be spending most of your time in the Items section of the museum. As you can see here, the Items section of the Museum of Everyday Writing has all submitted artifacts, both published and unpublished. Here you will have access to every single artifact and you will be able to edit them at will. As you scroll through the artifacts in the museum, you will notice that some of them have the word private next to them. This means that these artifacts are unpublished and they cannot be seen by the general public who goes to visit the museum online. Now let's pick an artifact and start editing. This poster one on the bottom looks good enough. Let's see what it's all about. As you can see here, it looks as if someone's already come in and filled in some of the artifact's information. So when we curate this artifact, we're going to be editing and checking to see that all the information filled in is correct and fits to the form of the museum. So let's go over to the side and click Edit. Don't click Delete. Never click Delete. You do not delete artifacts. Don't do it. Our first step in curating this artifact will involve utilizing the museum's super sick doubling core technology to fill in all of the details that we would use to identify it. The doubling core separates different bits of this information into separate boxes for us to fill out individually. So what I normally do is that I open up the image of the artifact in a separate tab. That way I can directly compare the artifact to the boxes I'm going to be filling out now. Now let's start filling these boxes out. A lot of these sections of the doubling core are rather straightforward, but some of them will need a little bit more explanation to fully understand. Let's start with the title. The title of the artifact should be the first important line of text seen in the artifact, copied verbatim, misspellings and all. As we can see here, the previous editor forgot to include the room number in the text in the title. It's a very simple fix, but you will see stuff like this on the artifacts all of the time. The subject section in the doubling core is reserved for the topics of the artifact. These topics should not be capitalized, and each new topic requires its own separate box. If you need new boxes to add multiple topics, simply click Add Input under Subject. The description of an artifact is an account of the resource of the artifact. Here, you should write in the context of the artifact, its origins, the material it's made out of, and so on and so forth. Make sure the description that you put in is brief and does not last more than a paragraph. If the submitter of the artifact included additional information with the submission, you should quote the submitter, and you should put, "The submitter provided the following of the artifact's history," before the quote. The creator is the person responsible for composing the artifact. Keep in mind that this could be completely different from the submitter, and you should take that into account when filling in names. For digital artifacts, include screen names and actual names where they're available. For correspondence and other signed artifacts, if a full name is not available, include the name as signed. If the artifact is a performance, be sure to include all names of creators and performers involved, and make sure to clarify which is which. And if there is no identifiable creator, as seen here, simply put unknown. The source is simple. It is the person, organization, or site from which we have acquired the artifact. We don't know who actually submitted the artifact this time, so we'll just leave it blank. The publisher is the individual or the platform that has published the artifact. If the publisher is an internet platform, make sure you capitalize where necessary, and that you include all platforms that apply. If there is no publisher, simply put unpublished. The date section is for the most relevant date associated with the artifact. There's no specific date that I can attach to this artifact on hand right now, so I'm going to go with the date that the artifact was submitted. The rights box is for the creators and/or owners of the artifact. These owners are listed on the artifact submission form. The contributor and relation boxes should be left blank. The format box is for the file type associated with the artifact. Most of the artifacts that you'll get will be JPEG images, but you'll occasionally get a PDF or an MP3 here or there. Just make sure you fill it out accurately and in all caps. The language box is for any languages associated with the artifact. If you cannot decipher or you do not know a language associated with the artifact, simply put unknown in that data field. The type box should also be left blank. The identifier box is the unique identifying number assigned to the artifact. The identifying number can be found on the submission form. Be sure to write it exactly as it is written on the form, including capital and lowercase letters and punctuation. And finally, the coverage box. The coverage box is for the specific time period of relevance associated with the artifact. Now, the museum categorizes these time periods in 25-year spans, from 1600 to 1624, all the way to 2025 to 2049 in the future. You can find all of these time spans in the description of this video below. Now that we're done here, let's go on to the next section, the item type metadata. Let's start by making sure this artifact is in the correct item type. Yeah, that looks like a sign, although we'll get into that later in the other videos. There are multiple common genres that we put down when we list the genre of these artifacts. You can find those in the description below. The material section is the list of materials with which the artifact was constructed. As you can see here, each material deserves its own section. To add a new material box, simply click Add Input. The circulation box is for the way in which the text is disseminated. In this case, it was posted. Now we get to the big part, transcribing the text of the artifact. The linguistic text is any text that was added by the creator of this artifact. Make sure you copy it verbatim, misspellings and all. Don't forget it. The visual text is any shapes or symbols or drawings included with the text. Make sure you have a brief description of the visual text and where it occurs. The oral text consists of the non-linguistic sounds composed by the artifact's creator. Due to the nature of our artifacts that we normally get, you're normally going to leave this one blank. And finally, the given text is the text that is part of the artifact but was not composed by the artifact's creator. This would include, for example, the date on a Facebook post, or the amount of likes it gets. The dimension is the size of the artifact. If you don't know, leave it blank. Now, each artifact item type has a unique field to it. In the case of the sign, it's the placement of the sign. From the information we have, we can't really tell the exact location or the location type in which it was placed, so we're going to leave that blank for now. And finally, we have the uploaded field. We simply put the date in which it was uploaded. That's all for the item type fields. Now all we have left to do is fill in the tags. The museum has an expansive set of tags that cover most every type of artifact that you could submit to it. All of these tags can be found in the description below. If for some reason, by some strange occurrence, that none of these tags fit your artifact, and you believe that there is a more fitting tag that you could add to it, that is totally fine. Just make sure you get in contact with your supervisor first. When you fill in the tags, type the tags out one at a time, not capitalized, and put a comma between each tag. This will allow the tags to be separated automatically, and then when you click Add Tags, you will add them all at once, like so. Now once all that is said and done, simply click Save Changes, not Delete, and then inspect your beautiful work. If you followed all the steps correctly, then congratulations! You have just successfully edited your first artifact. Just remember from here on out that different item types deserve different treatment, and that's what all the later videos in this playlist are for.